The wait is over. Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire is finally here. Directed by Adam Wingard and produced by Legendary Pictures, this 2024 installment roars into the screen as a sequel to the riveting Godzilla vs. Kong 2021, expanding the narrative of the MonsterVerse. Serving as the 38th film in the Godzilla franchise and the 13th film in the King Kong franchise, this epic adventure unites an ensemble cast including Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, and Dan Stevens. The film follows Kong as he ventures deeper into the mysterious Hollow Earth, encountering more of his species while facing a new formidable threat. Amidst the chaos, an uneasy alliance between Kong and Godzilla must be forged to confront Skar King, a tyrannical leader set on unleashing devastation on the surface world. First and foremost, this film feels like a perfect continuation of Godzilla vs. Kong. It has the same tone and the same energy, so if you liked Godzilla vs. Kong, then you will like this movie. But if you didn't like Godzilla vs. Kong, then you will absolutely hate this movie. It basically doubles down on everything laid out in that movie and then some. The pacing here is very, very fast, at times almost too fast. Scenes end before they really even start. It's also very much a King Kong driven movie, with Godzilla sort of taking the back seat. This was expected since this is how it was in Godzilla vs. Kong, but I would have liked more Godzilla action. This movie is also just pure dumb fun. I liked that the kaijus had more of a presence than the human characters. There are these long stretches where it's nothing but monsters, and those scenes are really well executed. Kong feels like more of a character in this movie than in the previous MonsterVerse films. Human characters in this one are one-dimensional and really only serve to move the plot forward. The only real memorable character here is Trapper, and he's sort of this kaiju vet. This really isn't a spoiler because it was shown in the trailers, but there's a really cool scene where Trapper helps Kong get rid of this broken tooth and replace it with this new shiny metal tooth, and the whole thing is just a really fun sequence. Trapper as a character is very fun and very interesting. I want to know more about him, and he's really the best part of the human characters in this movie. But that being said though, he's kind of a ripoff of Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy. You see, he's constantly playing music from the 70s, and I'm just not a fan of it. The needle drops in this movie felt very lazy and forgettable. It felt like it was trying way too hard to emulate Guardians of the Galaxy, but there wasn't a motivation for the film to include this type of music. Now yes, there were older songs in Godzilla vs. Kong, but it's more present here and it's more distracting here. If anything, it's more similar to 2016's Suicide Squad than Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a bad thing. Like, that's not a compliment. What is a compliment, though, is that at times, this movie really felt like a Jun Fukuda type Showa-era Godzilla movie. You really get some elements of Godzilla vs. Gigan and Godzilla vs. Megalon thrown in. I'm not going to go in depth on that today. On Friday, I'm going to put out a spoiler discussion video that's going to be more in depth, but trust me, there are some moments in here where if you're a big Godzilla fan and you've seen the Showa-era movies, you'll be like, yeah, that's ripped right from this movie or that movie. So the only big gripes that I really had with this movie involved a lack of Toho legacy monsters. The MonsterVerse has a lot of these forgettable and generic kaijus. They're very much these these are my OCs, don't steal type vibe. Like, I really don't want to spoil it, but there are some monsters in this where it's very clearly just a Toho legacy monster that they just designed and then went, yeah, it's not this monster, it's a different one. And it got really annoying because in my brain I'm just thinking this could have easily been this monster or that monster. As a result, everything just feels more generic and forgettable. Speaking of generic, Junkie XL's score is god-awful. I already talked about this in my Godzilla vs. Kong review, so I'm not gonna retread on that again, but this man needs to be kept away from the Godzilla franchise. His Godzilla score is downright atrocious, and it sounds like a royalty-free Godzilla score that you would just find on like YouTube, and it says copyright-free, royalty-free. It's not good.
Hooray! Hooray! was great, Squidward. All those wrong notes you play made it sound more original.
What? I didn't play any wrong notes.
Yeah, see, you're playing it like this. When ordinarily it goes like this. I'm partially doing it in the key of A minor myself.
Please, for the love of all that's holy, bring back Bear McCreary or even Alexandre Desplat, because this is getting ridiculous. Stop being a coward and use the iconic Godzilla score. There's a reason it's one of the most memorable themes in all of film history. Anyways, the cinematography was pretty bad at points. It might have just been the theater that I saw this movie at, I don't know, but there was this weird chromatic aberration vignette that was on the corners of every single shot with the monsters in it, and it just made everything feel cheap and fake. And I don't know what could have caused this. I don't know if this was the projector, if it was the movie. If it was just the projector, then ignore this part. But if it was the movie, it was super distracting, because anytime that popped up, it was during a visual effects scene. And so as a result, it was like my brain just went, yeah, this is fake, because I see this chromatic aberration and it looks awful. But beyond all of that, if you're just looking for a good time and to just turn your brain off and watch monsters punch each other for almost 2 hours, then this is the movie to see. Now, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if a bunch of reviews for this movie mentioned Godzilla -1. And to the reviewers that do mention -1, I have to say that you're an absolute idiot. It's comparing apples to oranges. Like, where was this attitude when Logan came out the exact same year as Thor Ragnarok? For the most part, I'm just really happy that Godzilla fans are able to enjoy both the serious side of the franchise as well as the more gonzo and comedic side, like Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. Now, on this channel, I don't really rate movies. I don't give it a number score or stars. I feel like that kind of takes away from the review itself, and it just makes it so that everyone just skips to the end to see the score. I don't want to do that. I want my thoughts to be more nuanced than that and just not have everything be broken down to a number. However, if you do want to see what I would rate this in terms of stars, you can go and follow my Letterboxd account. I track every single movie I watch in my diary. I've been doing it now since 2020. So yeah, go and check that out. And that's about it. With all of that out of the way, I'm Cole McCormick. You're watching Firewood Media, and stay tuned because this Friday I'll be dropping an in-depth spoiler discussion on Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, where I'll go into more detail about everything that I liked and didn't like. Consider becoming a member to support the channel. For just $1.99 a month, you'll receive member shoutouts and your name featured as an executive producer in all of our film projects. There's also going to be members-only videos as well as exclusive behind-the-scenes content that you won't find anywhere else. As a lifelong fan of the Godzilla franchise, there have been Godzilla films with fantastic human characters. The original 1954 film, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla and Shin Godzilla, are highlights in my eyes, though nothing comes close to 2023's Godzilla -1. You don't have to if you don't want to, it's just an extra perk for anyone that wants to support the channel, while also getting to see some unique content. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.